The glass shattered before anyone could speak. A porcelain cup slipped from trembling fingers and exploded against the marble floor, its sharp sound echoing through the Billionaire mansion like a gunshot. Adrian Hale flinched in his chair, his hands gripping the armrests as if the sound itself had struck him. His head turned slightly, listening, counting footsteps, measuring silence. "Who's there?" he asked calmly, though his heart was already racing. No one answered at first. Then a hurried voice said, "I'm sorry, I didn't see, I wasn't paying attention." Her voice stopped him cold. It wasn't soft in a trained way. It wasn't fake polished like the others. It carried warmth, nerves, and something real beneath it. Adrian tilted his head, listening closer as the woman knelt to clean the mess. "You shouldn't do that," he said quietly. "Do what?" she asked. "Move that fast, you could get hurt." There was a pause, then she laughed, a short, surprised sound. "You're worried about me?" "Yes." No pity, no hesitation, just yes. From the doorway, Victor Hale watched, his jaw tightening. His blind son hadn't spoken that much to anyone in weeks. "Who hired you?" Victor asked sharply. The woman stood up so fast her chair scraped the floor. "Sir, I'm Lena. I started today." Victor nodded once, already losing interest. "Make sure you do your job and don't distract my son." "I'm not distracted," Adrian said calmly. "I'm listening." Victor froze, that tone firm, steady, was rare, uncomfortable. "Adrian," Victor warned. "I asked her name," Adrian continued. She answered. Silence pressed down on the room. Lena swallowed, suddenly aware that the man beside her wasn't just another resident. She felt it in the way the house bent around him, in the way staff avoided eye contact. "I didn't know," she started. "It doesn't matter," Adrian said. "You can finish cleaning later. Tell me, what time is it?" Lena glanced at the tall windows where sunlight poured in. Late morning, almost noon. "And outside?" She hesitated. "The garden's loud, birds. The wind keeps brushing the trees like it's in a hurry." Adrian smiled. Victor turned away, unsettled. Something had shifted and he didn't like it. 3 months earlier, the Hale mansion had been quieter. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that came from fear, not peace. Adrian had been born blind, but that wasn't what isolated him. It was the silence people wrapped him in, the careful voices, the whispered instructions, the way everyone treated him like glass. Victor Hale didn't do tenderness. He did control. He built empires, crushed competitors, and scheduled emotions out of his life. His son's blindness was a flaw he couldn't fix, and that made it dangerous. So Adrian lived surrounded by staff who spoke softly and never honestly. Until Lena. She didn't lower her voice when she spoke to him. She didn't finish his sentences or guide his hands without asking. When she cleaned, she hummed off-key, unashamed. When she read to him, she didn't rush. "What does the sky look like today?" Adrian asked one afternoon. Lena paused. "Messy," she said, "like someone spilled white paint across blue and forgot to clean it." Adrian laughed, a real laugh, one a passing guard stopped to hear, confused. "You're strange," Adrian said. "You're rich," Lena replied. "I think that evens it out." She still didn't know who he was. To her, he was just a man who liked stories and quiet corners of the house. A man who listened like every word mattered. But the mansion noticed. Whispers followed her through hallways. "She's getting too close. She doesn't know her place." Victor noticed too. His son was sitting straighter, asking questions, smiling at empty air. "Fire her," Victor told the house manager one evening. "She hasn't done anything wrong, sir." Victor's eyes hardened. That's usually when people are most dangerous. That night, Lena stayed late to finish polishing the West Wing. The mansion was dark, its luxury dimmed into shadows. She didn't hear Adrian approach until his voice cut through the quiet. "You're crying," he said. Lena wiped her face quickly. "No, I'm not." "You are," he replied. "Your breathing changes when you lie." She sighed, defeated. I don't belong here." "You belong where you choose to stand," Adrian said. "Right now you're standing with me." Tears slipped free then. "They think I stole something," she whispered. "I didn't, but they're looking at me like I did." "Who?" Adrian asked. "Your stepmother. She watched me all day, like I was already guilty." Adrian's jaw tightened. "She does that to people she wants gone." Lena froze. "You know." Yes. Then why keep me here? Because I want you here. Footsteps approached before Lena could answer. Lights snapped on. Victor's wife stood at the end of the corridor, eyes sharp. There you are, she said coolly. I was just about to call security. For what? Adrian asked. For theft, she replied. Some jewelry is missing, and this girl was near my room. Lena's heart dropped. I didn't take anything. Victor arrived moments later, his presence heavy. Enough, he said. Lena, pack your things, leave tonight. No, Adrian said. Every head turned. I said no. Victor stared at his son, stunned. You don't understand. I understand perfectly, Adrian interrupted. You're firing her because it's easy. This is not your decision. Then make it mine, Adrian said, standing. Because if she leaves, something else does too. Victor scoffed, and what is that? My cooperation, Adrian said quietly, with the surgery. The corridor went dead silent. Victor's face drained of color. Lena looked between them, trembling. Adrian, don't. I won't see without her, he finished. Victor clenched his fists. And for the first time in his life, Adrian felt powerful. The choice hung in the air, sharp and dangerous. And somewhere deep inside the mansion, something began to break. The silence stretched until it became unbearable. Victor Hale looked at his son like he was seeing him for the first time, not as a liability, not as a weakness, but as a threat. You're bargaining, Victor said slowly. I'm choosing, Adrian replied. Lena's chest tightened. Adrian, please, this isn't fair. I don't want to be the reason you. You're not the reason, he said, turning toward her voice. You're the truth. Victor's wife scoffed. He doesn't even know what you look like. That's the point, Adrian said. Victor exhaled sharply. Enough drama, she leaves tonight. Security moved closer. Lena's legs felt weak, but she forced herself to speak. Sir, I'll go. I never meant to cause trouble. Adrian's hands clenched. You promised the surgery would be my choice. Victor hesitated. The surgery, experimental, risky, expensive, was his last hope of fixing what money hadn't. It is, Victor said, but not under emotional blackmail. Adrian nodded once, then cancel it. The word landed like a blow. Victor stared at him, searching for hesitation. There was none. Escort her out, Victor ordered. Lena didn't look back. She couldn't. The mansion swallowed her footsteps as she left, carrying everything she owned in a small bag. No one spoke to her. No one apologized. Behind her, Adrian stood alone. Days passed, then weeks. The mansion returned to its old silence, heavier than before. Adrian stopped asking for books, stopped walking the garden paths. He sat in his room with the curtains drawn, listening to a world that felt emptier without a certain voice describing it. Your meals are untouched, the doctor noted. He's adjusting, Victor said, though his tone lacked conviction. I'm waiting, Adrian said from his chair, for something that isn't coming. Victor's jaw tightened. You're throwing away your future for a maid. For a person, Adrian corrected, which is something you stopped seeing a long time ago. The surgery date came and went. Victor tried pressure, guilt, anger, nothing worked. At night, Adrian replayed Lena's words in his head, the way she laughed when she was surprised, the way she said his name like it mattered. He wondered where she was sleeping, if she'd found work, if she was safe. Across the city, Lena scrubbed dishes in a crowded restaurant kitchen, her hands raw, her mind distant. Every quiet moment reminded her of a mansion filled with echoes and a man who listened like the world depended on it. Hey, a coworker said one evening, you're miles away. I used to read to someone, Lena replied softly. Now I can't even finish a sentence without hearing his voice. The world moved on, indifferent. Victor couldn't. Late one night, he stood alone in his study, staring at security footage. He rewound the clip again and again. The moment his wife accused Lena, the way Adrian's posture changed, the steadiness in his voice. Pull the staff records, Victor said into his phone. By morning, the truth was undeniable. No theft, no evidence, just prejudice. Victor sat heavily, the weight of it pressing down. For the first time, his control had cost him something he couldn't buy back easily. He went to Adrian's room. I was wrong, Victor said quietly. Adrian didn't respond. I found her, Victor continued. She was innocent. Silence. I can bring her back, Victor said, if you agree to the surgery. Adrian turned his head slowly. She comes back because you're sorry, not because you need me to sign a form. Victor swallowed. I am sorry. Adrian listened, measuring truth in the pauses between words. Then bring her back and we'll talk. The search was swift. Victor Hale knew how to move cities. When Lena answered the phone, she almost hung up, thinking it was a mistake. He wants to see you, Victor's assistant said. I don't work there anymore, Lena replied. He wants to apologize. Lena laughed bitterly. People like him don't apologize. He will, the assistant said, for his son. Lena hesitated. Her heart argued before her mind could stop it. She returned to the mansion quietly, unsure if she was brave or foolish. Adrian heard her before she spoke. He always did. You came back, he said. I didn't think I would, Lena replied, her voice shaking. He stood, hands searching the air until she took them. The contact sent a shiver through both of them. I missed you, he said simply. Tears slipped down Lena's face. I missed you too. Victor watched from the doorway, something in his chest cracking open. The surgery was rescheduled. The hospital smelled sterile and sharp. Machines hummed. Doctors spoke in careful tones. Adrian lay on the bed, calm in a way that frightened Lena. Are you scared? She asked. Yes, he said, but not of the dark. She squeezed his hand. Whatever happens, you won't face it alone. Adrian smiled. I never did. Before they wheeled him away, he turned his head slightly. If you're watching this and you believe love can change someone, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Some stories deserve to be followed all the way through. Lena laughed through her tears. You're impossible. And you're unforgettable. The doors closed, time slowed. Victor sat rigid, counting seconds he'd never cared about before. Hours later, a doctor approached. The surgery was successful, he said. Now we wait. Adrian woke to light, blurred, overwhelming. Shapes bled into each other. He blinked, heart pounding. Adrian, a voice whispered. He turned toward it instinctively. And the world began to come into focus. Adrian blinked again. The light hurt not in a painful way, but in a shocking one, like stepping out of a long tunnel into open air. Everything was still blurred, colors bleeding into each other, but there was shape now. Depth, movement. Don't rush, the doctor said gently. Your eyes are learning. Adrian barely heard him. Adrian, the voice said again, closer this time. His breath caught. Say it again. Adrian. He turned fully toward the sound. The blur shifted. One shape stood out from the rest, still unclear but steady. His heart pounded so hard it drowned out the machines. I don't know what you look like, he whispered, overwhelmed, but I know it's you. Lena stepped closer, tears streaming freely. I'm right here. Adrian lifted his hands, hesitating for the first time in his life. Can I? She nodded quickly, yes. His fingers touched her face, careful, reverent. He traced what he had imagined 1,000 times, her cheek, her jaw, her lips. Then he laughed, a breathless, broken sound. You don't look like your voice, he said. Lena's heart dropped for half a second. Oh. You look stronger, he finished, and kinder and real. She laughed through her tears. That's the nicest almost insult I've ever heard. Victor watched from behind, his vision blurring for an entirely different reason. He had built skyscrapers, companies, fortunes. Yet this moment, this quiet miracle dwarfed them all. Days passed. Adrian's sight improved slowly. Each morning brought something new, shapes sharpening, colors separating, faces becoming faces. Lena stayed by his side, guiding without leading, letting him discover the world on his own terms. What color is this? Adrian asked one afternoon, holding up a small flower from the hospital garden. Yellow, Lena said. He smiled. It feels warm. That's because it is. Victor visited often, quieter now, less commanding. One evening, he stood beside his son's bed and cleared his throat. I owe you both an apology, Victor said. Not as a billionaire, as a father, as a man. Adrian didn't respond right away. When he did, his voice was steady. I don't need you to change overnight. Victor nodded, I know. But you can start, Adrian added. Victor managed a small, fragile smile. When Adrian was discharged, the mansion felt different, not warmer, lighter, as if something heavy had finally been removed. But Adrian didn't stay long. I want to leave, he told Victor. Victor stiffened, leave. Yes, Adrian said. I want to see the world without walls. And the company will survive, Adrian interrupted gently. It always has. Lena stood beside him, unsure. Are you sure? Adrian turned toward her, his eyes now clear enough to hold hers. Only if you come with me. She searched his face for doubt, found none. They left quietly. No grand announcement, no press, just two people walking into a city that felt impossibly loud and bright. Adrian took it all in, the chaos, the noise, the beauty. This is what you've been describing, he said. I never realized how brave you were walking through this every day. Lena smiled. I was just surviving. You were living, Adrian corrected. Months later, Adrian opened a small foundation, one that funded education and independence for people with disabilities. Not with speeches, not with pity, but with opportunity. At the opening, a reporter asked, what inspired this? Adrian looked at Lena before answering. Someone once described the world to me when I couldn't see it. Now I want to help others find their own way through it. That night, as they walked home hand in hand, Lena asked softly, do you ever miss the mansion? Adrian shook his head. I don't miss places that made me small. They stopped at a street corner, city lights reflecting in his eyes. He looked at her fully now, really looked. I fell in love with your voice first, he said, but staying, that was a choice. Lena's breath caught, so was coming back. They stood there, ordinary among millions, extraordinary to each other. And if this story moved you even a little, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Which moment touched you the most? The sacrifice, the reunion, or the first time he saw her? Your support helps more stories like this find their way to the world. Adrian once lived in darkness, surrounded by wealth. But love was the first thing he truly saw. And it changed everything.